Hello, everybody. Hope you all had a great Monday. As for me, it was not too bad, but cold and rainy. But being Monday, it is time for spooky places. And this week, we shall visit a few places in Illinois. And our first stop is the Clements Cemetery, Urbana, Illinois. Located just east of twin cities of Champaign and Urbana, Illinois, is a cemetery that has been told of in local legends and the University of Illinois for many years. The graveyard is called Clement Cemetery. It is said to be the home to a ghost that has been dubbed the Blue Man. No relation to the Blue Man Group, no doubt, but maybe that's where they got their name. For many years, students from the college and the surrounding area have made late-night treks to the cemetery hoping to catch a glimpse of the ghost. It is said that he only appears by the light of the full moon, and that if you should see him, he will be glowing with a translucent blue color. The story of this ghost has been around for nearly 150 years. In 1941, a man was found to be hanging either from suicide or a lynching near the cemetery. Since that time, this stranger's ghost is said to be haunting the area. We now move on to the Greenwood Cemetery in Decatur, Illinois. Greenwood Cemetery is possibly one of the most haunted sites in the Midwest. It was incorporated in 1857, but one really knows when it was started. But burials took place there as far back as the 1820s. After nearly a century, the graveyard was in poor condition. The grounds was overgrown and the grave robbery was common. Tales of ghostly apparitions and misty forms have been collected over time, including tales that have endured for decades, like the Greenwood Bride and the story of the Barrettman Staircase, where the ghost of a weeping young woman has been reported. One of Greenwood's haunted and lost locations is the old mausoleum, which was torn down in 1967. The building had been in terrible condition at the time, and rumors circulated of strange screams and lights that could not be explained. The mausoleum was emptied prior to being torn down, and unclaimed bodies were placed in common grave across the road. Another of Greenwood's legends are the ghost lights that have appeared for several generations on the southern edge of the graveyard. Lights are said to be the spirits of lost souls whose bodies were washed away by a flood many years ago. The spirits are said to be searching for places where their bodies are now buried. Greenwood's most notorious haunted spot is the Civil War section. During the war, Decatur was frequently visited by prison trains carrying Confederate prisoners to camps. One of these trains contained a number of men who had died from yellow fever while en route. The railroad tracks passed close to the cemetery, so a wagon was used to carry away the dead. The prisoners were buried in an unmarked grave on the side of a hill near the war memorial section is today. The grave was quickly dug, but in the haste it is believed that some of the soldiers may not have been dead. There are many who say that these soldiers still walk the hills of Greenwood Cemetery, and many others claim to have uncomfortable feeling in the area. One man even says that he encountered one of the soldiers in person. He was walking through the cemetery one day when he saw a man standing among the tombstones. He gestured, and the man went closer. He noticed that the fellow seemed to be wearing a tattered uniform of some sort and looked very confused. "Can you help me?" the man in the uniform asked. "Where am I?" The other man looked at him closely and saw fear in his eyes, and he got a chill down his spine as the man in the uniform spoke again. "I just want to go home." the man softly and then vanished. And the last stop for tonight, folks, will be the Peck Cemetery in Decatur, Illinois. Peck Cemetery is located in the northeastern part of Macon County near the towns of Oakley and Ciogordo. The cemetery is an isolated place enclosed by a rusted iron fence and it is hidden from the road by thick woods. It is surrounded by heavy forest and trees loom over the grounds. In addition, the graveyard is accessible only by way of a rutted dirt road and through a metal gate which usually kept locked. Trespassers are not welcome there. The reason for this is because since the 1970s, Peck Cemetery has been a popular place for teenagers to go and have parties and attempt to scare themselves silly. If this were the end of it, that would not be the problem. Unfortunately, a small minority of these teenagers have also felt the need to vandalize the cemetery. The burial ground is in deplorable condition, as the majority of the stones have been toppled and broken, and have been turned over, and even have been sprayed with bright paint. There are very few of the monuments now standing upright. Many of these lean dangerously to the side, thanks to digging that has been done around their base. Vandalism is not the only thing to add to the reputation of the cemetery either. It is also believed to be a haven for occult groups who are trying to tap into the negative energy of the place. While I think most alleged Satanists are little more than disturbed teenagers, and that most devil-worshipping cults are simply the fevered imaginations of fundamentalist religious groups trying to scare the general public, there are some pretty scary people out there. There are people who do take the occult very seriously, and I have it on pretty good authority that some of them used to gravitate to Peck Cemetery. While stories have been grown a little larger than life over the years, some pretty strange and bizarre things have taken place there. Satanic cultists aside, stories have told of a number of years that suggested that something lurked in the cemetery. There are many tales told that place and witnesses. Late-night visitors to the cemetery have come forward to claim a number of strange happenings and to recall many frightening events. Such stories include apparitions in the graveyard, inexplicable cries, whispers and voices, hooded figures, eerie lights, and even the sound of a woman's scream that seemed to come from nowhere. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tales, and wishing you all a spooky night.